afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Smart Cities and Service Improvements Committee meeting, the last one of 2021. Hope you're all doing well. Hope everybody enjoyed the Thanksgiving holiday, and looking forward to today's meeting. So why don't we start with a roll call?
Foley?
Here.
Jones?
Present.
Liccardo? Cohen, Mahan.
Here.
Thank you.
Right, we just made it. Excellent. Okay, I don't believe we have any changes to the work plan. Are we reviewing the work plan today, Rob?
Not here today. That'll be at rules, sir.
That's a rules. Got it. Okay, great. Thank you. And then there were no items on the consent calendar. So as we move to reports, Rob, do you want to give us an overview of what we'll be covering today?
Yes, sir. So good afternoon, Chairperson Mahan, Mayor Liccardo, Vice Mayor Jones, committee members and members of the public. Rob Lloyd, the Chief Information Officer for the City of San Jose. Leading off, we're going to take a moment to celebrate, if Michael can show, a major honor the city received in November. So for the second year in a row, San Jose was placed #1 as the large city in the Digital Cities Award. The award has run for over 20 years now, and Digital Cities is the gold standard awards program in local government because it requires a formidable application process and proof of the work that you've actually accomplished. So you can't innovate or aspire by press release. You actually have to be able to show the work that you've done and the impact that you've had. So it's truly a citywide honor, recognizing our collective impact across departments, and a lot of the successes that we've shown at the Smart Cities Committee, Chair, has gone into that application. And this is a chance to celebrate all those departments. So just because I'm a little bit competitive, note that we beat Los Angeles and San Diego and San Francisco, our friends here in the area, or the state, I should say, beat Phoenix, Arizona, and it goes to what Infotech research said about the city of San Jose is no city delivers more technology and innovation per dollar than the city of San Jose.
Though we wish we had more dollars.
Always. All right, so with that, today's city staffs will present on items that focus really on public access to meetings and services. So first, under agenda item D1, we have a report, bi-monthly report on the city's innovation and technology projects. You'll see the statuses, a new dashboard, and early what we call independent verification and validation work, which makes sure that projects truly are on track as they're reported. Michael Foster, our division manager for the Portfolio Products Projects Office, will present that item. Second, and this came up at City Council and is of high concern, is the D2. We have a report on the multi-departmental efforts to modernize city public meetings. That includes a lot of integration by agendas, access to materials, meeting management, voting, broadcasting, accessibility, and so forth. This is a formidable body of work and will be covered by Tony Tabor, City Clerk, Walter Lin, Deputy Director of Public Works, Sarah Sadate, Director of Admin, Policy, and Intergovernmental at the CMO's office, City Manager's office, I should say, and Dhruv Hamadi, IT Products Projects Manager for IT. And then last, we have D3, where we'll do a requested update on San Jose 311 and related service delivery improvements, service additions, and impact metrics. Herman Sedano, IT Products Project Manager, and Kia O'Hara, SJ311 Contact Center Manager, will present on behalf of a large team. Leaders from those service owner departments will be introduced and also help answer any questions that you might have. And so with that, we'll start with Michael and the biannual update, or bi-monthly update.
Thanks, Rob. Good afternoon, Chairperson, Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the committee, and members of the public. I am Michael Foster, Division Manager, C3PO, here to present the Innovation and Technology Project Status Report. So we'll start again with the now familiar city roadmap linking to the technology and innovation work we do here at the city to this overall roadmap. So we fade into when we last left our heroes in October, and then fade into the latest version of the roadmap. So as usual, I've got follow-on slides for what's changed, what's completed, what's new, and our project velocity. So we'll start with the status changes. The first couple here are some new projects for the ESD group. These are pretty major projects. They have actually kicked in now, so they've gone from an on-hold status to started. Just today, we heard that they have successfully been able to hire their contract product project manager who will be taking on these two projects. So that's fantastic news. So actually, those would actually turn to green. The next one is on Drive to Digital One City Workplace. So that has gone from yellow to red because only partial funding exists. I believe yesterday we heard some information about this, as well as some more information is going to be coming in January. We can go into that later. On the asset management, that project has gone to on hold, so it's gone into that gray status as we look to hire a resource to manage that. The business tax system is now out for RFP, but there are delays to the timeline. So it is currently yellow, but we're looking to accelerate that timeline. And then finally, in lease management, the scope and budget were narrowly defined there, but the scope and requirements will be modified to include all impacted city departments. So that is the current status on those. Next slide is recently completed projects. So the first three are actually policies that are now published and out, and we are currently training and publicizing the policy across all city IT staff and contractors. So those three policies are the technology management and deployments policy, the mobile communication and devices policy, and the web governance and digital services policy. So just making a note that we're pulling those off of the board, the overall status slide that you see. Those have been on there for a while, but that's good news there. Next one is Facebook Telegraph 2.0. That actually is complete. That downtown network is launched. You heard about it previously. Went officially launched to the public October 5th. And it was a little bit later than expected. And also we're focused on filling any gaps in the map for future improvements. So we're calling that one a yellow for the moment. And then finally, the Rent Registry 3.0 was presented last month to this committee with a new version, with new features. Of course, we'll have ongoing improvements on that, and we'll start the plans very shortly for a version 4.0 of that. Next is net new projects. This is one square on the roadmap, but it is actually 4 new services, and I wanted to break those out for you. As the top 4 priorities next for SJ311, they are the community Wi-Fi customer service reporting, the reporting of illegal fireworks, connecting tenants to affordable housing, and also in the housing area, the eviction prevention. So you'll hear a lot more about this in section 3 of today's presentation. I don't want to steal Herman's thunder. And on velocity, you can see that we've decreased our velocity lately. You'll notice that there's a capacity line as well. We like to consider that given the folks we currently have, that about 30 to 35 projects underway at any time is roughly our capacity limit. We've also lost some resources in IT, so the capacity line has moved. You'll notice that. And of course, we need to hire in IT. And of course, new projects are always rolling in. Next, you've seen these slides before where I talked about independent verification and validation review process. So I don't need to read the slides again, but this is that process that Rob talked about, that we have the metaphor of our goal of trying to prevent watermelon reporting, where the projects look green from the outside, but are red once you peel all the outer layers off. So we have a grading system for stack ranking the projects that we're working on. Looking at those C3PO qualifications, if you remember those, more than $500,000, more than one department, greater than a year, high profile or highly sensitive to the city. We look at the status on the dashboard, the 4 dashboard colors, red, yellow, green. And then of course we get extra points if it's a high profile or sensitive project, or the value column is not green if it's not delivering the value. So just moving on quickly, here's some example. I won't read these. Here's some example IV&V questions where we kind of dig into the project to understand a little bit better what's going on under the hood. And as promised, I'll be summarizing these using a stoplight, red, yellow, green status for the following areas: governance and funding, schedule and resources, and delivery of value. So here is 3 projects that have been evaluated during the month of November using the option 1, which is a questionnaire, asking those questions I just showed you and digging into the details. So the 3 projects here are FirstNet deployment, the development services transformation, and the Drive to Digital project, One City Workplace. No surprises were found here, and the projects, although not without problems, were found to be accurately reporting their status whilst dealing with known funding and resource issues, of course. But the value of all 3 of these projects, as you can see, remains strong though. And finally, I wanted to say that we've got our IT project status dashboard available to the public. In addition to the internal dashboard that you've seen before, and that remains the single source of truth for IT projects citywide, the public now has access to available in 2 forms, as a PDF and as raw data that can be downloaded from the San Jose Open Data Portal. The reason we went with a PDF format is that it's 1, universal, and 2, accessible. Don't worry, cybersecurity risks have been removed prior to publishing to the public, but the public can now see the detailed status, including scope, budget, schedule, and value delivered without having to attend this meeting every other month. I also have a short video presentation for this. So let's pray this all works. Switching over to the video and share. And somebody let me know when you can see this video.
It's visible on the screen, Mike.
Thank you. All right, so I will hit play here and recorded a silent video here. So this is that C3PO citywide dashboard project status. You've seen this before. This is an internal SharePoint site. So obviously it's got a lot of info here, all the projects here showing their scope, budget, schedule, and value. Now you can actually go to the external city website. You can take a look at pages like the Smart City Vision page. On that page now, if you scroll down, is a link for you to download that PDF of the dashboard. And this is that same information, but available in this fully accessible, printable, and readable version. So the details are all there. And it's linked to from multiple locations actually on the city's internet site as well. And then next, we have also published this data on the Open Data Portal. So on the next tab here, you can actually download this information and get it in a raw data format. So that.
And Michael, just to interject, you don't have to download it. It's also visible on the portal. So it's
true.
But yeah.
True. Thank you, Rob. That is my report. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Michael. Really appreciate it. Congratulations again, everyone, on the 2nd year in a row being first place in the Digital Cities Awards program. That's excellent. And I know we'll talk more about it, but why don't we head over to public comment? I see at least one hand up. And once we've got our timer up, we will start with Mr. Beekman.
Hi, thank you. Blair Beekman here. I'll try to say a lot in the 2 minutes here. Thank you for this item. Thank you that, I think that we're considering a lot of, there's a lot of new Wi-Fi technology being placed in downtown at this time. It's going to also be using for the purposes of helping the scooter issues, mobile transit issues, an array of data collection and surveillance issues that I hope it's okay. I can talk about surveillance things here at this time. We have to learn how to practice our surveillance technology, how to be open about that for all the East Side issues of digital equity, 4 and 5G that's being placed, smart streetlights, all of that has got a ton of additional surveillance technology and data collection that can be added to it. So this is why I always am stressing the importance that we have open public policies and learn to really share and ask our community if this is what they want to be doing. And, it's with that, for all the, worry and honest concern about current law enforcement issues, and looting and all those things, more like car break-ins, that's the real issues to be worrying about. We don't have to be fully relying on ALPR stuff at this time. And I think we're starting to get that and understand that. We already have a ton of ALPR stuff. It's an array of ways of working that you can address here, that it's important that we consider those things at this time. I think we're starting to get that. Good luck in how to work towards that still. And, with my remaining time, it's just important lessons that we really have to take to heart, and we don't have to go overboard on law enforcement. It's our brains, it's our human heart that we talk to each other and work on issues and good practices.
Thank you. Mr. Soto.
Paul Soto from the Horseshoe. Thank you for affirming the esoteric language that is used with respect to technology. The regular average citizen is not going to be able to walk in here and know exactly what that man just said in terms of how the city is because there's two worlds. There's the world that I live in, and then there's the world that goes on inside that building. And those are two very, very different realities. They don't even come close to being bridged. And the technology, whenever man gets a technology, he always uses it in a way that dominates or destroys the human being. Okay, that started with Tesla. When we got the technology for electricity with the AC/DC, it was used to electrocute a man. That's when we got the electric chair. Once we put the planes in the sky, what do? We bombed Germany during World War I. I mean, there's a precedent for it. And so I'm saying that to say that you must have, and I'm not talking about you guys sitting in a room with ACLU somewhere. No, I'm talking about right here in public where everybody can see it, where everybody can hear it, the ethical questions that are raised with respect to the technologies that you are deploying on the citizenry. I mean, come on, this is basic, man. And it's not opinion, these are facts. It is a fact that you must have a very, very strong ethical application of these types of technologies, because these things done in secret, and not necessarily secret, but we just don't talk about them. That is a responsibility that you're assuming that we never afforded to you. We never granted you that responsibility to do something like that. So there must be the ethical standard.
Thank you. And finally, we have Jill Borders.
Hi, thank you. I want to thank Blair Beekman and Paul Soto. I wasn't going to speak, but I thought, they've inspired me again. So thank you, you guys. I actually am speaking from a place, a little bit of ignorance here, so I apologize if this isn't the right place. But I was wondering if this committee has within its power to, just for your knowledge, just something to consider is on these notices of development that go around the cities when you post them up on these boards, a legal requirement. It'd be really nice in this day and age of technology if you could consider someday putting like a QR code at the bottom or something that I can just hold my phone up. I can, click on it and it will take me to the actual project number and any corresponding documents, because what's happening now is I'm taking a picture with my phone, I'm going home, I'm making a phone call to the project person, sending an email, trying to do a search on your website for documents. Turns out in this last situation, I was not able to get the information I needed in time to attend a meeting. It's a little disappointing. In addition, I was not able to find any documents. Turns out when I finally, a month and a half later, or whatever it's been, a month later, get the information, they've changed the project number. In short, I'm just trying to say that in this day and age of technology, here we are with putting a board up with a photo on it and a phone number, right? It's kind of like sending a snail mail message, if you will, through the mail. if you could put a QR code up there, along with the phone number, people that need to call, people that can just look it up themselves quickly without all of that. We're going to reduce time and effort on even these people that have to, answer me back, etc. So it's just an idea, and I don't know if this is the right place to put it, but it said innovative technology and reports, and I thought I'm going to throw it out there. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Jill. Thanks to everyone who commented. And while we don't normally respond, Jill, I will make a note of that and share your suggestion with our planning and building department. Thank you for being here. Thanks to everybody in the public who participated. Okay, let's come back to the committee and see if we have any hands up. Not seeing any yet. Okay, I'll go ahead and start. So again, just want to congratulate you all on the first place award. And I was curious if you could tell us just briefly if there's maybe one thing we are doing especially well that we should double down on, or at least be sure to keep doing. And if there's anything we've learned that other cities are doing that we might find inspiring or something we ought to consider.
You're on mute, Rob.
Oh, Rob, yeah, sorry,
Sorry.
we're not.
Sorry, didn't
There we
push
go.
the button quite right. So yeah, let me give a kind of an outline, and then Jerry should weigh in as well because he led our application process. So two areas where we got called out, technically three, but two in particular. One is the 311 and the customer experience in driving our services to continuously improve and to actually meet residents where their needs are. For example, the smart data usage that we had, where we need to expand beyond just quality of life issues, but also basic life needs, so connectivity, housing assistance, and eviction assistance, those types of things. So how we interpret those and release new services was especially noteworthy. Number two is our engagement through data to talk with the community about the problems that we have and how we can try to get at fixing them was something else that was noted. A third one was where we are with cybersecurity, just generally speaking in public sector. They gave us quite a bit of credit for. But Jerry, anything you would add on that?
Yeah, I would say there's a whole category on alignment between technology and direction and policy. And the fact that we have a Smart Cities committee that we discuss out in front of daylight. Not every organization has that. In fact, most don't. And then on top of that, the city roadmap work that was done and connecting that city roadmap with the IT strategic plan and then the GIS strategic plan and really showing kind of the vision of where we're going connected to the execution strategy is where I think we shine above most. What else did I write down? Yeah, I think that's a big part of it. Rob mentioned many of the other pieces that we have going from an execution perspective.
Great, I appreciate those insights. Was there anything in particular other cities are doing that we should be aware of? Anything interesting?
Yeah, there's probably two, I would say, in terms of the investments that are being made across the country. And some we have some progress, but there's still facets we can learn. One was how communities are acting with the equity cause in broadband and reach of services to what have historically been neglected parts of our communities. So there's a huge emphasis on that across. And then the other second one where there's continuous investments is in cybersecurity, and now people are starting to see the importance of privacy. And as you know, we've had a couple of years of work on privacy. So we've actually worked with the Center of Digital Government, who awards this award, and we're co-chairing their digital privacy work nationally because we have a bit of a head start, us in Seattle and another couple communities. So, but they are pushing on that because digital privacy is going to become more and more relevant, as we heard from our community and from council in previous meetings. As we use these technologies, there's some caution that we have to use in deploying them responsibly. So nationally, more people are investing in and paying attention to that as well.
Great, thanks for all that context. I want to just quickly touch on two other things and then I'll hand it off to the mayor. On the first, I did not quite follow from the presentation why the dashboard that you showed in the video is not publicly accessible as a dashboard.
Oh, yeah, that's more of a technical issue, Councilman. the SharePoint it being an internal capability. I talk with its SharePoint experts. There's a lot of nerdy detail here, but really it's not possible to put a SharePoint site externally. So I work with Matt Opsel, who actually is also on this meeting right now. And Matt's an expert in internet technologies and accessibility. And he said the most universally readable and also universally accessible thing that you can put on the internet is a PDF. So he recommended I turn it into a PDF.
Got it. Okay.
Actually, let me, if I can, Chair, we do have through the data portal, it is visual and you can sort through and see that deeper information. There's a partition that we also are trying to keep is on the internal variety. We actually have some technical details, product names that we don't want published publicly in terms of cybersecurity. You would actually have a roadmap how to potentially violate some of the city's systems with that detail. So we are, with our open data community architecture standards, we do try to segregate the two and keep sensitive details out of the public domain, and that's allowed under law as well. So we are trying to practice that, but it is visual, it is downloadable, it is updated every month. And the accessibility that Michael's talking about is for people with other needs, visibility and access needs. PDFs are more friendly to them, though we still have to do the work about alt text and giving context to images. So that's our strategy now. We'll continue to improve it as our commitment.
Okay. All right. I appreciate that. And then finally on the IV and V, the independent verification validation, the column on value, and it looked to me from that slide like that was data that was generated via a questionnaire. Do we also have objective measures of value that we're referencing when we go through that process? And I think I'm looking at I'm down on slide 15. This says via questionnaire using option 1.
Let me.
I'm not sure if, yeah, Michael, do you want to?
I'll share that again so you guys can see the slide.
Thanks.
Let me know when it's up.
It's showing.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
So this is via an internal questionnaire, which is great. I guess what I'm wondering is, as we iterate on this independent verification and validation process, might we also bring alongside the more qualitative or subjective feedback, objective measures of value that we maybe define at the beginning of a project?
Yeah, so I can weigh in, and then Michael, I'd say take over. Is the way these are is we are supposed to take a look at the business value definition in the charter that we've agreed to with the sponsors, and they're supposed to review that with Michael and say, is it still hitting this mark or is it starting to miss that? And then based on your feedback in previous meetings, Chairperson Mahan, is we also in the future will try to look at how we can factor in customer feedback into whether or not that value prop is delivered or not, because it is currently from the sponsor's point of view in that questionnaire, and we are dependent on them saying from their team's perspective it's hitting the mark or not, and Michael has to validate that with those sponsors.
Okay, I guess I just look at something like development services transformation for the purposes of this committee not being able to do a deep dive on everything. When I look at that row and then see delivery of value is green, that sounds great, but I don't know what that value is. And while I'm glad to know that the staff person on the other side filling out the questionnaire thought it was green, I don't really understand the value that we created for our community. So I'd love to better surface those measures of value that are easy for us to wrap our heads around and kind of understand, okay, we completed a body of work. Here's what we thought the value would be. And sure enough, as measured, it was. I think we want to blend quantitative and qualitative, but it's just buried, from the perspective of the committee, at least. I'm only speaking on my fear that it's a little, whatever that value was is not real clear in this presentation.
Thank you, Chair. I think this really mostly relates to my slide design. I'm not the world's greatest slide designer in the world. I totally understand what you're saying. I think I need to add a little bit more information and a little more
Okay.
depth to my slide, and we'll improve this process. Yeah.
All right. For what it's worth, I thought the slide looked good. I just wanted to better understand what the value was that we are green lighting here. But okay, I've gone on for a while. Let me pass it over to the mayor.
Thank you. I just wanted to add my voice to the chorus in criticizing the slide design. I think maybe more mauve or some other tones would be more helpful to ensure that we can get that Digital Services Cities Award next year. By the way, I do want to congratulate everybody on the team. I know that's been a point of pride for us, but obviously it doesn't really speak to the value that you're adding every day to help our residents in ways that our residents won't notice, but because obviously this is all happening at the back end, but we really appreciate the hard work all throughout this team and then throughout the city organization. So thanks for making us proud on the Digital Cities Award. The most important question, of course, being is where did LA rank in the top 10?
Number 2.
Number 2? Oh, that's perfect. That's just what I'm thinking. All right. Hey, could I go back to the work that was, well, first, I guess the Facebook Telegraph project, that was one of the ones that was listed. And I tried to understand, it was sort of green and then it went yellow, but it's up and running. And I'm guessing we're getting feedback that there's some dead spots. Is that the issue why it's yellow? Or
yeah, as the sponsor, I can give you the information on that, Mayor, is the overall design that we pinned down for conclusion of the project. There's a couple legs of it where the coverage isn't hitting the mark that we define. So while overall it's actually performing very well, there are pieces of that design and that map, and Jerry and I actually went and walked it, where he's like, all right, it is indeed missing this portion. So the project is concluded. It will take some additional work and some investment to close in those gaps because of some interference in those areas.
right.
But we want to be upfront and honest that it didn't have perfect performance according to what our map was hopeful of.
Yeah.
But even though we call it done, it has some things that we'll need to work on longer term.
And is that solely an issue of geometry? These are just straight line?
Actually, in 2 of those areas, we have some odd interference that we're going to have to figure out. The signal just dies in 2 legs, even though the antennas are there. And in one place, the reach is a bit longer than we would like. And then the second piece of that, Mayor, is also economic development. As we feel this out, might have some additional investments where they want to make for public events that are hosted in downtown San Jose. So that'll then be married with a long-term plan and product roadmap of what other areas might need to be built up, so that we can support that safe, vibrant enterprise priority.
And so that would still be accessible with the Wickley Fast label, or when we're searching for, what are we looking for?
Yeah, Wickley Fast is officially dead.
So it's dead. It's wickedly dead. All right.
So it's Access San Jose downtown, and then you have East Side as well, and so that's the kind of product name that we have across the city. It also has the benefit of starting with A, so we appear at the top of the list.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, Access. All right, I'll keep that in mind. Thank you for that help. Hey, on that last issue, just talking about the development services, if I can just understand better the transformation work, which I think we all agree is super important. The understaffing, is that on the IT side or on the development services side? Or both?
So Mayor, I think Jerry and I can help on this one. So Jerry, get ready to unmute. But speaking for the team, there are actually some staffing plan items that we have as part of a retreat that we had a couple weeks ago. We have 3 scenarios. One is we've pulled people off of the line to plug into the project to help reinvent the service. And there's continuing work, and the departments have said we need them to get back to their day jobs. And so we have some gaps that will need to be addressed. Number 2 is there are some services where we implement them. It'll be good for the public, but it'll actually take more staffing to support that service, and that's also been highlighted. And then number 3, there's a rebalancing as you shift from project mode into operationalization on more of this. We should look at those positions and see what are the positions we need and where, as opposed to taking the project staff and say we need them forever. Operations don't look like the project. And so that transition is something we're gonna have to go through with the departments as well. But we do know we have some gaps where people are continuing to be on the project and do their day jobs, and that's wearing thin in some spots, and the departments and partners have brought that up.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Well, I'm sorry, Jerry, go ahead.
Yeah, I can add a little bit. I'll just add Rob's favorite word, which I'm not sure if it's really a word, operationalization. I think it's an area where we do these innovations and we do the project basis, but at what point have we reached the stabilization that we actually have to support in the long term? And you've elevated the plateau through your innovation, but the funding is needed to keep it at that level too. And so I think that's what we're seeing in that area on some of the technology that we put in place is just keeping that stabilized for the long haul.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if I can give one credit, is we've turned a couple real expert business people in those departments into really good IT people, and that's probably a sin in some worlds.
That's great. The drive to digital, the indication is that there's some funding challenges, but has that been solved by Tuesday's vote, or are those still lingering?
Jerry?
I believe so. I think the One City Workplace, which is referenced in that as not having complete funding, I believe it still has partial funding, and so I think we have to go back to the budget office and have a conversation. I don't think it necessarily stalls us out from the RFP process, although I think we have to talk that through. And I think we just got to reconnect with the budget office and figure out what that means. But it is only partially funded as of Tuesday's vote.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll have to do some scope changes and circle through the sponsors to see what that is, and then we could potentially turn that to yellow.
Okay, great. And my apologies for being off camera. I'm just catching a late lunch here, so I'll continue listening off camera here. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mayor, Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Chair. And I want to also add on the congratulations for being #1 for both 2000 and 2021. I want to remind the chair, like I reminded him last year when we won, that under my leadership as chair, that's when we came up. The current chair gets to take the victory lap, but we put in all the hard work to get us on the right trajectory.
It's the never-ending Mark Jackson, Steve Kerr debate.
Yeah, that's good. It's a good analogy. I want to just ask some broader questions. I know that you spoke to capacity, and I know that some of the projects that have moved from green to yellow or on hold were the result of capacity issues or resource issues or personnel. And so my broad question is, does it make sense to even start or undertake any new projects until we utilize all our resources to bring all these existing projects home?
Well, I can help with that one, Vice Chair. Rob Lloyd, Chief Information Officer for the city. We actually recommend in some places that departments don't. So when we look at that total capacity, we say you're just overstretched already. The #1 and #2 things we hear in all projects in the city is just the staffing availability and how we do try to get some projects done with less than projected funding. Magically, we find ways to be successful despite those things. But on your question, we actually do ask departments not to initiate certain projects just because we tell them you don't have the capacity or the ability to do it right now. So either we reprioritize and cancel something else, or we put it in queue for the future, and then you'll prioritize from the things you have in your queue to do that. But on your question, we actually do that right now and work those with the departments. And sometimes they say, I'm going to have to figure out a way to get both things done or all things done because they're all high priorities. We caution them on that because when you thin out a project, you usually you fail at more, not less. And so that is part of what the Portfolio Products Projects Office is supposed to coach and help with.
Thank you. Then my second question was actually on the project status dashboard. I was looking at it and, it makes sense to me, but I'm involved with these meetings and talking to staff. So I have a deeper understanding, but I was just putting myself in the shoes of just the average resident who's looking at that dashboard. And I wouldn't even know what it meant and what it was telling me. So is it targeted to a specific demographic or segment, or is it supposed to be targeted to the broader population? Because I can tell you that the broader population is not going to even understand what it means.
Yeah, well, Michael, you might want to weigh in on this one, but we actually had this conversation and we said, all right, the average person will understand 20% of this. So we went through at least 2 iterations where Michael was reversioning the language to be understandable by the normal person. Not that we're abnormal, but
I knew what you meant.
Well, we're going to apparently do more work on that one because we thought we got closer, but we have obviously more work, and I'll take a note of that. But Michael, anything you want to add?
I just want to say thank you, Vice Mayor. Yeah, I mean, we've gone through and we've gotten rid of all the magic acronyms, that nobody understands. We've gone through and made the language of the titles of the projects as clear as possible, but still, if you don't know what a firewall is, saying firewall doesn't help a lot. So a lot of these are, IT infrastructure projects, and they're just going to be, kind of nerdy, to answer your question.
Yeah, I would suggest just do the man or woman on the street test. When you're out, at Starbucks having coffee or whatever, just grab someone and just say, hey, take a look at this and tell me what you get out of it or what you understand. You can give them a little context, but basically if it's someone who's been directed to go to the website to look at this information and just get a feel for what they are able to pick up or understand, I think that would be very helpful. But anyway, that's my input. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Vice Mayor and Councilmember Foley.
That's a great segue to me, Vice Mayor. I am the woman on the street. I'm the woman who understands 25% or less of what you all are saying. So I'm sitting here thinking, okay, great. And I appreciate that you're all working hard to communicate with the average lame tech person, which is who I am. So anytime you need a normal person input on any of this, please reach out, because I'm happy to share my ignorance and help define it so that people like me can understand it. I think that's why I'm on this committee, to keep it focused on the average Joe or Jill on the street. I do have one, and I do want to congratulate the team for winning second year in a row. I'm not as competitive as the mayor that we have to beat LA, but I do love to beat LA and wish the Giants had beat LA, but hey, what are you gonna do? There's another year for that. And I don't mean to be flip in this committee meeting, but it's a lot of what you do is really important and behind the scenes, but technical, and in particular, the cybersecurity is of critical concern to me, and the privacy issues that you've already articulated. So if those are the reasons that we're winning an award, because we're watching those and protecting those in the highest level we can, then kudos to you and congratulations to your team. I did have one question, and it's regarding the project list, the ones that went from green to gray or green to yellow. Rob, you had mentioned something that you've discussed with departments because of a capacity issue, reducing having critical projects that have been put on hold. Can you give me an example of any project that might be critical that we should be moving forward that has been put on hold because of a capacity issue?
Yeah, I'm not on mute. Yes. All right. So, for example, one in development services transformation, we have some upgrades and maintenance that were scheduled that we had to put off, and we said we can only put it off for about 5 months, and then it starts causing some other trickling issues related to maintenance and security. So that's the most recent one, but at any given 2-month leg, there's probably 4 or 5 projects where we say you're going to have to make some decisions about what your highest priorities are, because you're not going to be able to do all of these. And there are others in development services transformation, for example, but we said, what's the best timing? And sometimes it's, do we pause this, work on that? Can you then recover back into the project you paused? Well, sometimes the answer is yes, sometimes the answer is no. but that's really where the C3PO has to go through with the department and the sponsors and the technical leads and functional leads and say, what's our best option?
So you're looking at productivity and results and effort. What is going to require the greatest amount of effort for the least amount of return, or the least amount of effort for the greatest amount of return?
And occasionally some feedback on some Tuesdays.
I hear you. Thank you. Okay, that's it for me, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. And would you or any of our colleagues like to move acceptance of the report?
I'll move acceptance of the report.
All right. We'll give you the motion, council member, and the mayor gets the second. All right, let's vote.
Council member, could I just butt in for one last comment? I'm sorry. I just jumped in. I just on this dashboard thing. And look, I'm happy to join Councilmember Foley's club. But could I just suggest, I'm not sure the whole world needs a dashboard for everything. And you guys are doing a lot of dashboarding and it's really important. But as I look at, the list of projects, I don't think the public really cares that much about what our progress is on those projects. But they care a lot about how those things are working, right? So, for example, seeing that East Side Access is moving along, okay, great. But I think the more meaningful dashboard is how many people are we connecting and how good is the signal and how reliable, those kinds of things. And so I honestly wouldn't waste a lot of time on that dashboard. I'm not sure it's worth the effort to try to make it understandable to everybody what our projects are. They just want stuff to work. And so I just think, there's a lot of dashboards that we're all working on, especially you guys. I'd say focus your energy on other stuff. Anyway, sorry.
Good point. And I think you articulated better than I did earlier what I meant by objective measures of value. How are we kind of quantifying and demonstrating the value we're delivering to the community? So yeah, it's a great point. Okay, with that, why don't we vote?
Foley,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Liccardo,
Aye.
Mahan.
Aye.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. Okay, we have two more very important items to get to. We are now on to item 2, digital public participation status report. And I believe I'm handing it off to Tony. Hi, Tony.
Oh, Tony, you're on mute. I know that feeling.
I hardly have to speak in meetings, except to call speakers. Good afternoon. We're here to present a report on the status of our digital public participation. Presenting today are myself, Tony Tabor, City Clerk, Walter Lynn, Deputy Director of Public Works, and Drew Hemedy, Products and Projects Manager with IT. Sarah Zarati, Director of Administration, Policy, and Intergovernmental Relations, also provided direction and support for this project. On June 8th, the City Council approved the memorandum from Councilmember Mahan to return to smart cities with a report on requested service improvements, the assessment of streaming services, and staff's recommended approach to improving these services through future requests for proposal and/or amendments to existing contracts. Because public participation in council and council committee meetings are handled across multiple departments, the representatives from each of those departments met several times over the last few months to discuss how we improve access to public meetings and agendas. The unprecedented lockdown we experienced in 2020 showed the public employees and elected officials have a strong desire to participate in government remotely. In order to provide the best service, we need to examine our current systems. In 2005, we began a contract with a company to provide an internet video broadcast of the council meetings. This software enables us to provide bookmarks during the agenda so members of the public can skip throughout the video to just the items they're interested in. Over the years, this contract expanded to include agenda management software, boards and commissions application software, and e-comments. Over time, the needs of the staff, the public, and the council members have changed. The current software has some drawbacks, such as a very steep learning curve for staff and users, inability to handle large volumes of e-comments, and lacking some features that the needs assessment showed are desirable by users. Walter.
Great, thank you so much, Tony, and good afternoon, Committee Chair Mahan, Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the committee, and the public. I am Walter Lynn, Deputy Director for Public Works. In regards to the system itself, there are multiple interlocking pieces that work with each other. They're required to be in that uniform and unified format in order to create that best and fuller experience for all users. As the agenda and the meeting management system are integrated into the broadcast and hosting services for the system to provide that content to the end user. There are also multiple key stakeholders that utilize and have differing needs for the system, including the public, mayor and the council, the city manager's office, city clerk, IT, public works, which adds more of that complexity in trying to develop that total integrated solution. So it's not an easy process, but we are looking to identify what the existing capacity and services are, what the needs also are, and then trying to fill those gaps over an enhanced solution. With that, I'd like to transition this to Drew Committee.
Hello, committee chair, members of the committee, and mayor. My name is Drew Hamadi, product projects manager from the IT department. So based on action by City Council at its June 8th, 2021 meeting, city staff solicited feedback on functionality and assessed the value of components related to public meetings that include web streaming and video hosting for access. A project team consisting of the city clerk's office, the public works department, the city manager's office of communications and agenda services group, as well as the information technology department assembled, setting a project charter for overall public meeting technologies and needs. So the project performed the following work. Number one, we conducted a needs assessment with input from the mayor's office, council offices, key city staff, as well as organizations representing the public in order to gather a robust set of requirements across agenda management, meeting management, and broadcasting from all relevant stakeholders in public meeting technologies. Number two, we identified which needs in the assessment are requirements versus just those that are desirable, including reviewing the city's existing solution for potential coverage of those requirements. Number three, we released a request for information to assess the current state of the marketplace, as well as its likely ability to meet these requirements. And finally, number four, we assembled a recommendation for the Smart Cities and Service Improvements Committee on the requirements, options, and direction. So the project team also focused on both the city's public meeting needs as well as the ability for all members of the public to participate in meetings as an equity requirement. Our staff is clear that a well-designed hybrid meeting solution allows San Jose's access and functional needs community to more easily attend and participate in these meetings that shape their lives. This includes supporting residents who cannot afford transportation to City Hall, parents who cannot easily find childcare or elder care, as well as residents who have health or anxiety needs that virtual attendance resolves. Technologies also provide access to those with language needs, including interpreter access versus simple direct translation. In addition, in our needs assessment, the city requested and received responses from representatives of two organizations serving members of the AFN community, the San Jose Peace and Justice Center, as well as the Silicon Valley Independent Living Center. The San Jose Peace and Justice Center seeks to empower members of the community left behind due to racism, sexism, homophobia, as well as other forms of discrimination, as well as those left behind economically. The Silicon Valley Independent Living Center is a nonprofit, non-residential organization that provides support tools and resources to live independently in Santa Clara County. I'll turn it back to Tony.
We received 18 total responses, 8 of the 10 council members, including the mayor's office, 5 out of 7 executive committee members, 2 day-to-day staff, 2 public organization representatives, as Drew's outlined. And we aggregated the scores in order to prioritize the features we would need to add versus we would like to add. In the following charts, we've marked as critical needs anything that scored above an 8. The highlighted items would be enhancements to our current package, so our current provider could do those items we just need to turn them on. And the respondents also provided additional service requests, such as real-time notification of agenda items. Currently, if you subscribe to agenda updates, you get them aggregated once a day. So you don't know an agenda's been added to until 2 in the morning. So the next day you would get it. So that real-time notification was noted by several people. And then Walter will cover the broadcasting needs table.
Thanks, Tony. So in regards to the needs for the broadcasting program, these listed items are really more aligned to the end user interface and ensuring that better experience when participating in the public meetings or even viewing the archived meetings afterwards. So just kind of going through the list in general, looking at access and the ability to see the closed caption, really seeing that higher quality viewing experience and the higher resolution as outlined in the two highlighted items there. And then from an archiving perspective, really being able to find the archived agenda items and easily finding that video archive or the documentation for that particular item. It's also from the accessibility needs, looking at other languages besides English and providing that service to the public and the remote users. And then really looking and finding, again, an easier access point for either archived items, documentations, videos, and really providing that as a much easier user interface for those that are, again, looking at live meetings or for archived recorded meetings. With that, I will hand it off again back to Drew.
Thanks, Walter. So based on the analysis conducted in the needs assessment, staff first engaged its vendor to determine the feasibility and costs of providing the 11 features as service improvements to the city's existing platform and agreement. 6 of which were, so 11 of the service improvements, out of those 11, 6 were rated as critical or requirements as opposed to desirable. So based on our discussions with our city vendor, the 11 features were broken into 3 specific categories. Number 1 can be added at no cost. Number 2 can be added at an additional cost. Or number 3, not available and not planned. So among the features that can be added at no cost is the ability to view agenda documents in a new browser tab, as opposed to direct downloads, allowing more easy sharing of those agenda documents. Viewing video in full high definition can be added at an additional cost. And notifying speakers on their line, place in the line for public comment, among others, is an example of a feature that is not currently available. So now we'll turn it back to Walter.
Thank you, Drew. Yes. So with the needs identified within the assessment, a request for information was released outlining the program services and those needs. 4 vendor responses were received, with 2 indicating that they're able to provide a bit more than 90% of the identified needs with the current services that they have available at this time. And as technologies and services continue to evolve, we're hoping to closely achieve all of our needs. The vendors also provided estimated costs for these services. They're not firm offers. Again, this wasn't an RFP as yet, it's just an RFI. And that may include just the base level services for the software and the hosting services. The average range, as you can see, of the annual costs proposed is between $70,000 to $100,000, with one-time implementation cost of $20,000 to $70,000, and about a 2 to 6 month implementation timeline. I want to just advise that those costs and timelines are not inclusive of the other separate AV systems upgrade project that we are currently administering in parallel. This is solely just for the agenda management and the meeting management and the integration with the broadcast services. Back to Drew.
Thanks, Walter. So our research and analyses identified important features required to achieve the city's aspirations of accessible as well as well-run hybrid public meetings, with many lessons from the 2020-2021 pandemic experiences. So based on the age of the current contract for the city's agenda, meetings, and broadcast solution, combined with new industry options, staff recommends exploring, leveraging, and available an equivalent agency's procurement vehicle, or releasing a new request for proposal by March of next year, 2022. To be successful, the procurement must include software that addresses the required and desired features, integration with hardware and systems in city facilities, project's approach and timeline for implementation, and support services and costs. Additionally, staff should move forward to implement all 4 features that the city's current platform vendor can provide at no cost, as well as seek to negotiate the 2 available at-cost features at advantageous pricing. We believe these actions would provide time for procurement while improving the experience of public meeting participants. And with that, we'll take any feedback and questions.
Great. Thank you, Tony, Walter, and Drew. That was good to see. I really appreciate the very rigorous needs assessment, very clear in the particular focus on accessibility, which will make the offering, make the service better for everyone in the community. Let's head over to public comment before we discuss further. I see a couple of hands up. I believe we have Tessa first.
Yeah, hi. Let's see. Do you hear me? I don't see my, there's my time.
Yes,
okay, good.
you're.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Well, you know, what's frustrating is that I've been commenting on the the digital democracy issues and their lack thereof. And, you know, nobody notates those. And, you know, I think, you know, that's where public comment feels like it's just going into an empty basket. I mean, at least you could take notes and make some way articulate what we're commenting on, that we're spending time to be on the program, raise our hand, to make a comment, and yet nothing gets, you know, recorded. So my comments are, so that I'd like that to be fixed, you know, that there should be some documentation of our comments and some response would be the best. And so one of the issues, you know, to think about in terms of the digital democracy is that it's not working with the hybrid. The hybrid doesn't work. And, you know, we don't know who's talking, and we can't even go to the transcript to see who's talking. And on top of it, I've said it many times, I want the name, you know, your name as well as, you know, who you are, you know, so I don't have to go look it up, you know, everybody's name and where they are in the city of San Jose. That needs to be put on the screen. And other people have done it, you know, where you can see where they're associated with. That should be for all participants, should have a name and, you know, who they're associated with. And so that's issues of in terms of the hybrid not working. The language doesn't work when you have Spanish speaking people. I have no idea how to listen to what they say. You say, oh, you got to get on. You don't explain to us how we're supposed to hear the Spanish person speaking. And so I don't know how to do it, and I haven't been able to figure it out myself. So that's another comment. And, you know, basically, you know, like I said, the hybrid doesn't work because you can't tell who's talking. And I think that we need to stay virtual. I think the virtual is where it really works really well. And, you know, there's other issues in terms of our climate.
Thank you. Paul Soto.
Yes, Paul Soto from the Horseshoe. Thank you for, it shows that you've listened. It's taken a long time to get to this place. We're nowhere near where we actually need to be. But when we invest in these systems, what we are actually doing is we are upholding the principles of a democracy. That is what's at stake. You're not doing me a favor. You are absolutely not doing me a favor. You're not making things more comfortable for me. I'm not your business partner, or I'm not your customer. I'm a citizen within the context of the city where my mother and literally thousands and thousands of Mexican children were beaten, humiliated, shamed in the class. Go to the front. What did you just say? I spoke Spanish. Right across the mouth. And the fact that this city thinks it's doing the Spanish-speaking community a favor by willy-nilly, just like it's really not a priority or important. In fact, all of that money that's coming in, that should be a priority, because this is the population that has suffered the most in this city. We need to get to a point where we can actually talk about these things. We could talk about them openly without hearing Ricardo's chuckle in the background. That dude's a sadist. The mayor of San Jose, Sam Ricardo, is a sadist. That's the same kind of thing that prison guards do.
Let's get back on topic, please.
I'm on topic. He circumvented the process by which you had given an order. You're the chairman. And he side busted and said, nah, you ain't got to make it clear. You ain't got to put up a dashboard. That's exactly what he said. Okay, and I want it on the record. You gave an order and he just came in and said, well, nah, you know what? You ain't got to make it simpler for people to read. I want those people to come back on and decide whether or not they're going to listen to you or they're going to listen to him because you're the
Okay, we're on to Blair.
Hi, this is Blair Beekman. There is some real serious background noise and conversation going on. Can I ask the chair to please ask everyone to mute at this time? It's really hurtful and it's not very respectful. And we should make attempts when we hear that noise to ask to mute. So thank you for this item as part of our public accessibility ideas. Yeah, thanks a lot. Whenever there's trouble with the video feeds and it blips sometimes, I write to the Civic Center TV person and Craig, and we do a really nice job in working it out. And it's usually a really nice process of working out these issues. If you write a letter and just state what you feel the problems are, and he's really nice to always respond. So thank you for that, first off. And quick too. He takes care of it, in a matter of days, a day. And so what Tessa is saying seems really important. It seems issues that Tony herself has been working on for years. We've all been trying to ask how can be a more engaging process for the community. Is it possible to consider how to bring chat around to the Zoom meeting process for people to be involved with, and maybe have a chat monitor to say, well, you're getting a little out of hand. If you continue this line of, language, you'll be asked to leave, and that kind of stuff. I think that can help a lot. And yeah, how to make Zoom more accessible to people is important. And as always, I'm trying to make it a big point these days how we can make the public agendas themselves more publicly understandable and accessible. By saying during the city attorney's, the closed session report and the city manager's speech that, a public comment can be offered if wanted at this time.
Thank you. ECF Secretary. You may need to unmute yourself.
Hi, this is Molly. I'm speaking as a resident of San Jose who's been involved in these conversations, logging in on a different computer. Want to first express appreciation for the opportunity to provide input, particularly Herman, who introduced me to Dhruv, and then ensured that Michelle from Peace and Justice Center and Christine from Silicon Valley Independent Living Center's input was included as the survey was being put together. So I appreciate that. The earlier you can get input from people with disabilities, the better for the design process. It means not having to rework as much stuff. One of the things I'm excited about is there's an application to start a new employee resource group in the city of San Jose on including disabilities and equity accessibility that anybody could join. And I think it's important that there be multiple ways to provide input on and on and on. The next thing that I'd like to say is that the testing of the public participation process is having an opportunity for feedback is super important. The other question that I have is regarding the procurement process, ensuring that accessibility is built in. It's an area I've highlighted before and one that we can definitely do much better on. Thank you.
Thank you, Molly. And Jill.
Thank you. I just wanted to comment on all of the technology and thank everyone involved. I personally think that this pandemic has brought about an incredible improvement in our democracy. I am thrilled, and on the upside, I see this being hybrid meetings, all of this Zoom stuff, virtual meetings as an incredible opportunity for high schools to incorporate hybrid meetings into their classrooms, and even elementary schools and middle schools having access to listening in on an actual meeting. I just see so much potential. And I am so grateful for the short amount of time that the city staff and all the people that work on this were able to put all this together. So there seems to be, some criticism, and that's great. We can always improve on everything. But I just want to say that I'm thrilled with it. And I think that the people that I hear all the time in the meetings that are like, Tony, the people that, wait in line and call us, their demeanor and their patience with us. And I'm just astounded at the level of interest in the public. So I kind of have a flip side, even a shout out to Mayor Liccardo. Doesn't matter what policy we agree or disagree on, every single time I've given a public comment, he's looked me right in the eye. So I just have a lot of admiration right now for all the people in tech that are making these meetings happen. And I'm thrilled. So thank you very much for all the hard work and the opportunity that this gives all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Jill. That's it for public comment, but really appreciate the positive feedback there and agree. Our staff does tremendous work with a lot of requirements and limited resources. So let's come back to the committee. See if we have any questions or comments. Maybe I'll start with just a process comment, Tony, or a question. Just from a budget perspective, how does this move forward? Do you need to make an additional request as part of next year's budget cycle?
I think Drew might be the better person to answer that. He and Walter are the ones who have been looking at that more. I mean, we're currently paying for a system, so it's not a huge change.
Right, it didn't look like a huge amount of money. I just was curious.
Yeah, I can comment. Yeah, council member, this is Drew Hamadi. Our existing system is within the range of what the annual fees would be for any other potential vendor. So I imagine that this wouldn't significantly change, the budget process moving forward. But certainly we'd be in touch with, the budget office, based on the procurement process moving forward.
Great. Okay, sounds good. Rob, did you want to jump in? And you're muted again.
My hardware speaker and my Zoom are out of sync apparently. So three points on your question. Number one is if we wanted to pursue the additional features on top of what we can actually put in the existing one, there would actually be some kind of budget request. In the meantime, Drew and the rest of the team will take a look at what we can do near term, long term. The priority based on what was approved Tuesday is actually on the broadcasting and refreshing the technology for the chambers itself. And that was, when you combine the dollars, I think about 1.5, 1.6 million. I think Walter can correct me if I'm wrong. But that does need to be refreshed, and there's target windows where we have to do it because there's a lot of risk with it, and we don't want a public meeting to go bad. So we have to do it in July or in 2 weeks in December. So that is the higher priority in that sense. But then as we put all those pieces together and see what we can do based on the chart that Drew showed, we will be looking at in the budget process, making a potential ask of the additional features and a longer road, but that'll be a multi-departmental effort, and we'll respect Tony's space on that as the key entity responsible for the public meetings going well.
Thank you. Your point about July or December, that's for implementing a new system. Am I correct that we might be able to incorporate some service enhancement through Granicus on a shorter time frame?
We believe so, but if there's ever significant risk, and Tony can correct me if and Walter can correct me again if I'm wrong, we don't like to put too much potential risk on those because even a small change, if it has an outsized impact, causes the entire meeting to go bad. And even like the voting system, changing something mid-year, we're really cautious about it because we've seen how when the voting system goes awry, how it disrupts a meeting, and the mayor can attest how kind of, and Tony, how weird the meeting turns pretty quickly. And also just want to say 2 shout outs. There's I think Blair recognized Craig Judson. Craig Judson manages the broadcast technologies. We really should call him an unsung hero. He is so helpful, so responsive, and we didn't give him enough credit in the presentation we should have, as well as Matt Opsel and others who really are working behind the scenes to make those things. Tony has a lot of staff as well, but there's a lot of people with hands in the mix here.
Great. Yes. Thank you to Craig and Matt and everyone else who helps our public participate and keeps our meetings running smoothly. Do any of my, oh, Tony, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to say that the agenda side of it does not affect the broadcast side of it. So the enhancements to agenda items would not impact the broadcast side. So those we could do independent from the items that would affect the chambers and the broadcast.
So Tony, does that mean on my particular pet peeve that actually opening an attachment in a new tab automatically might actually happen before next December?
Yeah, that's actually a setting. I think Drew knows the details on that.
Okay. I'm still downloading each attachment. It's driving me nuts. All right. Oh, sorry, Drew.
No, yes, council member. It's just a simple insight setting that just needs to be turned on. It's a very
wonderful. You can help me get over my ignorance there. Sorry, go ahead, Mayor.
Oh, no worries. Yeah, I want to pass along feedback from our team. First, really appreciate all the team's work on all this stuff because we know it's been super difficult and a lot has been done in a short period of time. Keep everything running. Some general gripes about the Granicus system are really around the search capability and a lot of attempted searches. And they give me a few examples where they, when they're searching through documents for terms like, shot detection or whatever it might be, they just weren't getting any results at all. So I think that was a general concern. And I guess a question of sorts about the extent to which we're doing sort of user testing. Would someone other than the CMO clerk or city council staff be able to find a document or a calendar event if they're looking for it? That is, the folks, as I guess it was, as Vice Mayor or as Councilmember Foley referred to, the folks that you're bumping into at Starbucks, would they be able to find what they need to? And I'm not sure to what extent we're already doing that or if we intend to.
That's definitely a goal of mine because we have a lot of PRAs in our office where the items are actually on our website. And they wouldn't need to contact us and wait for business hours if they could find it on our website. So that's definitely an enhancement that we want to have. It saves us time and it helps the city or helps the population.
Thank you.
Sorry, I'm muted. Great. Thank you, Mayor. Any other comments or questions from colleagues? Should we entertain a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Great. And yes, I'll add my thanks for all the good work here and look forward to seeing continuous improvement of these systems in the year ahead. Okay, let's vote.
Foley,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Liccardo,
Aye.
Mahan.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you all. We're on to our third and final item of the day, the San Jose 311 Service Delivery Status Report. And Rob, who are we handing it off to?
Hi, Chair. So Jerry is going to kick off, and then we have Herman and Kia who are going to dig in. And then we also have the service owners on for questions and feedback later.
Wonderful.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Chair, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Chair, committee members, members of the public. I am Jerry Dreesen. I am the Assistant CIO for the city. I'm going to give a little bit of background, and then I'm going to turn it over to the people who are doing the majority of the lift on implementing the amazing new services and the expansion of SJ 311. Just by way of reminder here and some background, since the launch of SJ 311, formerly My San Jose in 2017, the city has made a lot of significant investments to create an omni-channel custom service request experience for the city that is highly responsive to the needs of our community and re-engineers our service delivery through data insights. And when we say omni-channel, what we mean is there's no wrong door. We mean to increase access to city services, whether that be through the phone, whether it be in person, or through our online channels, which includes through the website, our mobile app, SJ311, or through chat. Over the last 18 months, we've made many improvements. We've, including absorbing non-emergency calls into 311. We've added dynamic language translation into the app and the web portal for SJ 311. We've added a new service, resident garbage and recycling, which has been very popular, as our data will show when Herman and Kia present it. The SJ 311 also addressed usability and data synchronization issues, and we were able to increase our customer satisfaction scores substantially from previously 28% rating us good to excellent to now 68% good to excellent ratings. The team is now working towards the commitments that were made as part of the approved fiscal year 2021 and 2022 city budget, that we were to expand SJ 311 by adding new features and services, and by continually improving service delivery and customer experience. Herman and Kia are now going to walk us through what we are doing towards the expansion efforts and addressing some of the committee's challenges moving forward. Herman?
Herman, you're on mute. So the next meeting system will have to use AI to always know when someone needs to be off mute. You're still on mute, Herman.
All right.
There you are.
Okay, so let's go back to here, please. All right. So I was saying good afternoon, Chairperson Mahan, Mayor Ricardo, Vice Mayor Jones, committee members, and members of the public. I am Germán Sedano, San Jose 311 Project and Product Manager. Since we met on September 2nd, the San Jose 311 team has worked on multiple areas that I will go over in the next slides. One of them is migration to a low-code, no-code platform for easier and faster deployment of new services. As of this time, we are working on the testing phase, and we are planning deployment this month. Another deliverable that the team has been working is the addition of 4 new services to the web and mobile app. This will be done after we migrate to the low-code, no-code platform. And for this effort, we have worked very closely with the new service owners and completed critical tasks as we prepare for a deployment in the month of April to June of 2022. What else we have been doing? We have been working on accessibility enhancements. As you might remember, in the past, we completed a project about doing an accessibility assessment of San Jose 311. What we are doing at this time, we are implementing high priority recommendations such as a skip link. A skip link basically provides a way for users of assistive technology to skip what can often be many navigation links and go straight to the main content instead. Another area is still with enhancement done on the user interface. We have two areas that basically help people who have motor disabilities, blind or visually impaired, who rely on screen readers. We have also added, we have also completed the addition of an accessibility statement. Those will be available on the mobile and web app and will allow residents to provide feedback on the accessibility of San Jose 311. All of those 3 will be deployed after San Jose 311 has migrated to the low-code, no-code platform. Now I will pass the control to Kia. Kia, please.
Hello again, everybody. My name is Kia O'Hara from SJ311 Customer Contact Center, and I'm going to be talking about some improvements or actions that have been taken related to customer interactions and service. So speaking of enhancements, SJ311 has improved our web chat to allow representatives to enter just a couple of letters and a scripted message will be sent to the customers. This will improve our response time. We're expecting that it will decrease the live chat by 1 minute. Next slide, please. And so last time we were here and we met with the committee, it was brought to our attention that some council offices staff would like the ability to search requests that are entered into SJ311. And so, and this would allow them to better respond to constituents. So I did meet with about 30 people from different districts, and we went over some of the basic functionality in SJ311. I also provided some access to the system. This should help with the customer service, as a lot of the constituents that are inquiring to the council offices, those usually are escalated concerns. So now they do have more visibility so they can respond a little bit better. Next slide, thank you. And so within this training, we did talk about dashboards, and these dashboard reports are available on our website. And so they are available to the public already. They're available in several languages. They're very easily searchable, accessible by the public, and you can limit to like the district, the date, the type, etc. So now we have a very short video just showing you a little bit of the functionality.
Hi, and welcome to the San Jose 311 Reports Dashboard Overview. You can get to the Reports Dashboard by going to sanjose.custhelp.com. I also want to mention that this website has been translated in Vietnamese and Spanish for those who need language access. To get to the Reports Dashboard, click on Reports Dashboard on the navigation bar from any point on the site. Once on the Reports Dashboard, you can take a look at all the requests that have been made through the San Jose 311 app and filter by kind of service, status of the request, district the request was made in, and the date. You'll also have all kinds of data visualizations that you can use to better understand what's happening in your area through the San Jose 311 requests. Hi.
Great, thank you. So our team is continually thinking of new ways to provide great services, and with these improvements and a few of them, it does help us to make reporting easier and as well as improve our customer service response. So on the next couple of slides, you'll see that we've also had some community outreach efforts, such as our work with the library. The SJ311 team members joined several community conversation meetings, and at those meetings, they encourage SJ311 use. We explained its purpose, and we did requests for feedback from those in attendance. These meetings were set for the public in an open forum. They're ongoing, and they are available on the library's website in several different languages. And next slide, please. In partnership with the CMO's or City Manager's Office of Communication, we also had some messages that are going to be sent to residents via social media outlets. It's just going to be telling people about SJ311 just to spread the word. It also gives some information about existing functionality, languages available, and the ability to enter service requests. Thank you. Next slide. And on this slide, we have our very own Herman Sedano. He's representing SJ311 in this picture from when he, along with several other staff, did set up an informational booth at the Berryessa Flea Market. They had flyers about several services that are provided by SJ311, as well as others that aren't on SJ311. We had banners, and we also had staff that were available to speak several other languages, just to speak to shoppers as they walk by, and visitors and people who were just interested in what is San Jose 311. So we had a couple people out there just to talk. And so now I'm going to pass it back to Herman, and he's going to talk about some metrics and more of the hard work that has been done.
Thank you, Kia. Appreciate that. Let's go over metrics. On metrics, as you can see, we continue an upward trend in regards of reports and users. And we're also very close to meet the 50,000 user target that we have set for San Jose 311. Junk Pickup has taken first place as the most popular San Jose 311 service. In this chart, we show the percentage of service requests per service that have been closed within the expected resolution time. The target is 80% or greater. Now on this slide, starting in the month of October, we have started using a new customer satisfaction score. The target on this metric as well is 80% or more of surveys rating their experience as very good or good. Here we have the list of all services indicating the rating experience, and I will provide more details on the coming slides. This certainly focuses on Chairman's memo that was provided to us in the last meeting, September 2nd. Let's start with the residential garbage and recycling service update. They had 2 services that were rated positively. However, missed collections had a lower customer experience. Collections were primarily missed due to COVID-19 infections and also vaccination responses, in addition to 3 trucks that they caught fire and had to be put out of commission. Corrective actions that this team has set includes hiring additional drivers, acquiring replacement vehicles, and continue to use next door postings to alert users when any incident of this type were to happen in the future. And the next update is with the abandoned vehicles update. Things to highlight here are, number 1, that the current hybrid vehicle abatement approach is causing that 25% of service requests result in the vehicle being towed. This compares to the 7% pre-pandemic. 89% of very bad and bad rating refer to a service request that did not qualify for investigation, and therefore it was not investigated. Corrective action that this team is working on include adding specific criteria in San Jose 311 for residents to understand what vehicles qualify for investigation, and also enhance automated notifications on the status of individual San Jose 311 requests. And here is the vehicle abatement team who respond to resident requests. Service update from the pothole team. Want to indicate that the team is currently working on improving their service experience rating, also highlighting that their turnaround time is at 80%. This service has found that most of the complaints that residents post to us or send to us refer to quality and performance of the repair instead of responses or repairs themselves. To address this, the pothole service team is working on a plan to clearly communicate maintenance expectations to the public, make sure that they understand what is that they can expect, they should expect when they log a ticket in San Jose 311. And here we have the team who answers those pothole repair requests. A street light outage service update. A few things to highlight here. Number 1 is that the complexity of those requests varies widely, and that staffing levels still remain low. Additionally, the service delivery is impacted by bulbs no longer being produced. LED conversion, light emitting diodes, is expected to complete by the first quarter calendar year of 2022, which will result in fewer streetlight outages. Team is also currently working on informing residents on conversion status so that they know where we are with respect to the project and how to place concerns in addition of setting expectations correctly with them. And here we have Sean Johnson restoring a street light outage. Another area of work has been in regards of equity. We have worked very closely with the Office of Racial Equity and Service Owners and identify the following metrics. Top two refer to increasing users from underserved communities and non-English speakers. Variation of service request volume by location. And finally, what we want to see is an increased utilization on functionality focused on residents with disabilities. We have worked with new service owners. These are the 4 new services that will be added, as I said before, once the low-code, no-code project goes live. And they have provided their current service turnaround, and also what the expectations will be once we migrate, once they are part of the San Jose 311 family. Starting in the month of October, we have a new scale. That's the scale that you can see there. And that is what we are using in our current dashboard. More data will come as we have started using just in the month of October. That's all that we have. And if you have any question or any feedback, please don't hesitate to reach out to Kia or myself.
Awesome. Thanks, Ramon, Kia, and Jerry. Very excited by this update. And for me personally, at least, just reflecting on the conversation we had many months ago, feels like real meaningful progress toward more of a continuous learning and improvement cycle around service delivery, which is, I just think, really exciting. So looking forward to our conversation. Why don't we go over to the public? I know we have a couple of folks who want to speak, and we'll start with Paul.
Yes, Paul Soto from the Horseshoe. Organization is indispensable for liberty arises and has meaning only within a self-regulating community of freely cooperating individuals. But though indispensable, organization can also be fatal. Organization transforms men and women into automata. It suffocates creative spirit and it abolishes the very possibility of freedom. As usual, the only safe course in the middle of the extremes between laissez-faire and the scale of total control of each other. Brave New World, Aldous Huxley. He talked explicitly about this meeting. Everything that goes on in this meeting is because it's dehumanizing for somebody to try to quantify what the issues are on the street when you're hearing it firsthand from someone like me, someone like Barry, someone like Tessa, and all the other people that are in the community that come to these meetings and inform you that your learning curve is killing people on the street. You must accept the responsibility for that. This is why I'm saying this is a moral, this is an ethical issue. You must assume, because you were you have the power. We endowed you with that by the vote. Okay, we don't disrupt society because we are having faith in the democracy. We're having faith. The reason why we're not blasting each other, shooting guns off at each other, and just attacking each other, the reason why we're not doing that is because we all believe in democracy. We all believe in that system. And so with that belief, okay, you must accept that responsibility and know that your learning curve is killing us. Look at what's happening with the housing. Look at what's happening with this. You guys will get better and better at what? It must be measured by the quality of the life, not of the person in Willow Glen, but of the person.
Thank you. Blair?
Hi.
Blair, I think you may have muted yourself.
Oh,
there we go.
I have unmuted, but now I'm back. Thank you for catching that. I didn't notice, but now I have. Thank you for restarting the timer. These 3-1-1 things are really important for our future and really how to develop kind of our better community selves. Good luck in the efforts to do this. You know, I think part of the 3-1-1 work was initially designed to address the future of reimagined issues. And it's kind of interesting. It makes it kind of interesting work. Good luck. You know, this was happening before the George Floyd things. good luck how we can work on such issues. And with that, good spirit in mind. That's where I'm going to be trying to come from with these sort of issues, and you know, how it can really, how we can be a more community focused process for our future. That's, I think, what Paul was trying to say, something of what he was trying to say. And I mentioned a few months ago, you know, you guys were making a new big deal about AI issues. I tried to bring that into this. It was a little uncomfortable for some. I'm sorry about that. I still feel it's important to, I think you're creating some really important new ideas of AI things that I thank you for. And just to mention is overall good community practices, how we're connecting as a community. If I can quickly mention, it's a bit of a side, it's second cousin, I guess, but the public, your city public website, its search browser, it's really, really hard to find information on it. I hope you can learn to work on that issue as part of an overall public accessibility process. And with the dashboard issues, from what the mayor said, you know, he maybe have a point, but I hope we can think of what is informational for ourselves.
Thank you. Tessa?
Thank you. Well, I mean, if ever I have a problem and I call the city, or I try to, you know, talk about something like a dangerous road for the bicyclists that are going to kill us, you know, it's impossible to reach anybody. So none of the officers answer. None of the offices, you know, city council members, you know, sorry, we'll get back to you. We're out because of COVID. I mean, that's what our office, our city managers, her answering machine is like, we're not here because of COVID, you know, basically, you know, we'll get back to you when we're back, you know. Meanwhile, COVID is never going away, and we're not, you know, I guess you'll never get back to me. So, you know, and then 311, you know, like I've called that because they'll go to 311 and that doesn't work. They'll just hang up, and it's been very frustrating reaching. And the fact that our city, and I've made this a point, is that you need that resiliency, that our city, all of our city calls that go to those offices should go to our homes, because if that's how it's going to be. We know that COVID isn't going away, and you never did that. Like all the rest of all the corporations that you're trying to be the head of Silicon Valley, every corporation, every bank, every, you know, anything I deal with as a, you know, customer for anything, everybody's working home, loving it. It's so much better. I mean, there's articles written that we should never go back to work. I mean, we are in a climate crisis too. We should never be going back to work and in the ways that we've done it, business as usual. And yet you, City of San Jose, have never figured out to get that telephone to go to the offices. I don't know what we're paying for all those people that are working with all our council members, because they never answer us and they never call back. And then 311 is, you know, could work really great, but it doesn't. Like, you know, in terms of our, you know, safety of our city streets, we should be able to report something. And but I've reported something about a dangerous thing at Stockton and Taylor, and they got back and just said, you know, sorry, we're out. We don't do anything now because of COVID. So it's not, I know you're saying you're so successful. I don't see it.
Thank you. Okay, let's come back to the panel. All right, Vice Mayor Jones, you want to kick us off?
Sure. Thank you, Chair. First of all, I want to say to the staff, Herman and Kia, you know, I really appreciate your effort and hard work. You guys have a very challenging task, because I could tell you that, and I know this has come up over and over again when we've had this discussion, is in terms of meeting expectations. I'll start out with focusing on abandoned vehicles. We're having lots of issues in my district, and I could probably guess that my colleagues are also having major issues in terms of expectations versus what we're actually doing. And the qualifications for them to come out and tag and tow an abandoned vehicle are very specific and not broad enough to cover many of the abandoned vehicles and requests that we get. And there's a disconnect in terms of the expectation of the user versus what we deliver. And I haven't actually made a request, an abandoned vehicle request myself. So I don't know if when they make that request, if there's a pop-up that says, you know, if the vehicle doesn't meet this specific criteria, that we're not going to come out and tag and tow. If not, then we definitely need to have something like that. And the other thing too is just in terms of the broad range of services that we're trying to offer through the application. I really am questioning whether we should make it more narrow. You know, you've seen some of the customer satisfaction results. You know, we have several of the services that are, you know, well below 50%. And so I need to question whether we should continue to offer a service that gets a 30, 35%, 40% customer satisfaction rating until we address some of the underlying issues. So I just want to just, you know, throw that out there. I know that my colleagues have raised this issue several times in previous meetings, but the disconnect between customer expectations and what we're actually delivering is pretty broad. And when they have that negative customer experience, they share that with, you know, 10 other people. And it makes them more hesitant to even continue to use our service. I've had several residents that have come to me and said, yeah, I'm not going to use the 311 app anymore because it just doesn't work or it doesn't meet my expectations. And I'm not putting it all on you. I know that you guys are doing the best that you can, but there's just such a disconnect between the user interface, the user expectations, and what we're actually delivering. So I just wanted to share that. Thank you.
Vice Mayor Jones, would you like me to provide some context to your comments?
Sure, Laura, go ahead.
Or wait. So you are correct that there is definitely frustration and expectations of customers that are providing concerns through 311. And when we look at the customer service ratings, when we aren't able to provide the service because the request is not gelling with the program that we have, the proactive hybrid program, they're not happy. But even when we do the investigation, we're finding that upwards of around a third of the people are still unhappy because their expectation is we go out and we tow the vehicle. But frequently we go out and the vehicle's not there, or we tag it, and when we come back, it complies, which was what we want. And we share that information with the customer and they're not happy. Bad service. With regards to your first question, when someone goes into 311, before they even submit a concern, they have the program parameters in front of them. And we ask them also to submit a photo or photos of the vehicle that they're reporting that shows those conditions. So we are providing that information, and we are providing very robust information back to customers all through the process. So from if it's not going to be investigated to we have your request, we're going to go out there and investigate it, to we went at it, we tagged it, and we tell them all along what's happening. But you are correct. There is an expectation that we provide the services that we used to when we had the pre-COVID the traditional program where we were investigating every single request and finding that we were essentially just moving cars around the city. And that didn't always make people happy then. So I'll stop with that.
Thank you, Laura. That's all I have, Chair.
Okay, thank you, Vice Mayor. Mayor Liccardo?
I just want to first say this is a really excellent report. I appreciated all the information. It's this comprehensive and focused report as I've seen before, and really appreciate that we're getting to the real gist of the matter, which is how our residents feel about the services we're providing and how we're improving. I think this is really fantastic. So thank you for the hard work. And obviously when we do that measuring, there's always, we always learn things that we know we'd rather not, but this is part of improvement. And I think that's fine. Just a couple quick questions. One is I was looking through the slides here. Oh, I know, on the abandoned vehicles, the approach that is referred to is the hybrid VA approach. What does that stand for? A hybrid vehicle abatement, is that right?
Yes,
Yes.
Mayor. So first, I guess I should introduce myself. Laura Wells, Assistant Director of Transportation. And the hybrid approach is it's really two approaches. We have a small team that is proactively traveling all the streets in the city on a regular basis. So each street is being reached about 2 times. And we're finding with that proactive approach that there are many vehicles that are not being reported to 311. And many of vehicles that are the most egregious, truly abandoned, damaged, left on the streets. And many of these vehicles that we're finding that are not being reported are in low income areas of the city. Coupled with that, we are triaging requests that come into 311 and looking for those vehicles that show conditions of either being inoperable, and operable, it has to meet strict state criteria, or that have conditions of being blighted. And then we are sending staff out to investigate those vehicles and take appropriate action. So it's a combination of both using 311 and then the proactive.
Thanks, Laura. And I know this is, we don't want to be too much in this rabbit hole because I know that the folks is much more at a 30,000 foot level about our 311 service generally, but I think you're right that the app does describe all the specific criteria or potential conditions that would make a vehicle abandoned for purposes of the city policy. I guess what's missing is sort of an explanation of why we're being so limited. And I think it would be helpful if there was a sentence that said, this is why, here's why we're only towing these cars. Because I can tell you, I actually experienced this myself. There's a vehicle on my street that has been there for many weeks. There's no question, there's nobody living in it. There's nobody, it's not an issue of homelessness. And so I scratched my head saying, well, I thought we just had these conditions to make sure we weren't towing cars that people were living in because we don't want to further do harm to people who are struggling living on our street. But the car really is abandoned. It's just not quote unquote inoperable under the criteria. And so I guess it would be helpful maybe to explain to folks up front why we're doing what we're doing. I just throw that out. Thank you.
We will look at that, Mayor.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks, Mayor. Councilmember Foley.
Thank you. I guess I'll continue on with the abandoned vehicle concerns because that's probably one of the things that we get calls most from that our residents aren't satisfied with. And you can see by the customer satisfaction scores that the numbers are pretty alarming. So we get calls all the time about abandoned vehicles, but sometimes they're operable vehicles. They're stolen vehicles from someplace else and they're dropped in a neighborhood, and yet they're not being towed because they're not a blighted car. They're a car that, someone stole from somewhere else that got them from point A to point B. So how can we on the 311 app indicate, or how do we make sure that we're going to also tow or address stolen vehicles, but provide, it's really, just to echo what the mayor and vice mayor have said, it's about expectations of our community. Our residents feel that if they call or report an abandoned vehicle, that we're going to be there to pick it up. And they really don't care that it has a level of blight or doesn't have a level of blight. If it's sitting in front of their house, they're concerned that it belongs to someone who's then casing their house and going to watch them when they're leaving and then, you know, steal something from them. That's what's going on in the neighborhoods. So how do we address more effectively on the 311 app exactly what the expectations are of this department, abandoned vehicles, and what will be done so that we don't have to run interference on a lot of those questions, because we do get that call a lot.
So Councilmember Foley, we are, when we do the triaging, we do have information from the police department on stolen vehicles. And we do, when we identify vehicles that have been reported as stolen, we do forward those onto the police department. So we are looking at that, and you know, and looking at just for the month of September, about 1.5% of the vehicles were reported as stolen. Five vehicles in September. So we did forward those on. I don't believe we currently have information on the app that indicates we're looking at that. So that is something good for us to add as well.
Okay, I appreciate that, and I'm not going to continue to pile on, Laura. You've heard us all talk about it, and it's I think it's something across the board in all of our districts that abandoned vehicles are a concern. I do want to just praise the San Jose 311 team. I think you're doing a really great job in responding to particularly the accessibility question and making sure that everybody has access to San Jose 311, whether they have a disability that prevents them from normal access, but we need to make sure that everybody has access to it. So I know I mentioned that a few months ago, and I appreciate that you've really prioritized that effort in regards and allowed all of our residents to have access. With that, I'm finished, and I will move acceptance of the report.
Second. Thank you, Vice Mayor. Thanks, Council Member. I just want to add a few comments before we vote, and Armand and the team, thank you again. I'm extremely excited about the direction things are heading in, despite some obvious challenges in a few areas. So I just want to highlight a few things. First, we moved fairly quickly over the low code, no code platform migration. Understandable, infrastructure is not that exciting, but I want to thank you all for prioritizing that, because we know that that's going to enable us to deploy new services more efficiently, more effectively over time. And that's going to be a great win for people. So I just want to acknowledge that work and thank you again for that. I also want to highlight, if we can just very quickly pull up slide 14, I think we may have buried the lead here a little bit, Armand. I think this may have been deserving of its own slide, but I want to call out on slide 14, if we're able to bring that up quickly here. Otherwise, I'll just read it off. There it is. Perfect. My understanding, looking at those arrows, I just want to highlight for everyone, in the course of a year, just 1 year, we have completely inverted in a very positive way our very good and good satisfaction ratings and our very bad and bad. We've gone from over 2/3 of respondents saying that the customer service around our 311 services was not satisfactory to over 2/3 saying that it is, in a matter of just a year. And I just think that's extremely exciting and shows that we're very much moving in the right direction. And to the point that the mayor made, and I just want to reinforce, I think that the key starting place that's going to enable us to improve the quality of our service delivery is to measure clearly and consistently how we're performing, both in terms of we created the 3 buckets we want to measure. I just want to remind folks that customer satisfaction, very importantly, the equity measures to make sure we aren't leaving people out, and then the objective performance measures. Are we actually delivering the service? And by looking at those 3 consistently, we now enable a cycle of continuous learning that empowers the team, hopefully, to say, well, we're not quite where we want to be. We're at 73%, not 80 on illegal dumping, but we're within striking distance. Now let's optimize. What are a few incremental changes we can make to get to that 80% threshold of very good or good? And I just want to highlight as well on slide 17, if we go down there, actually it's the case that abandoned vehicles, and we're absolutely right to focus in there. But I want to just highlight, it's really an outlier. In fact, we've got 2 services now that are at or above our target, which is a pretty good, pretty high target, frankly. And then quite a few that are within striking distance, where I'm confident that the team is going to iterate and optimize and get us closer and get us eventually over the 80% threshold in the year ahead. So I just think as a system of learning and improving and being really resident centric, I'm just personally very excited about this. So I just want to thank you all again. And then I guess I'll just end my comments by echoing the mayor's point on abandoned vehicles. When you have a service that is that much of an outlier, it's my opinion that there's actually something more fundamentally mismatched between what the public believes the service is and what we're capable of delivering. And so I think that upfront clarity and better communication, and frankly, maybe diverting some people away from filing the report if they fully understand what it can deliver, what the service is capable of delivering, and what the criteria are, might be a better way of closing the gap in between expectations on the public side and what we're actually able to deliver on. Not that we shouldn't also be improving the quality of the service we're delivering, but I think that when we're at a 27% rating there, which is again an outlier amongst all these services, that tells me there's something more fundamentally wrong just in terms of how expectations are matching up with what's even possible at all. So anyway, I just wanted to highlight those points. I'm really excited about this report. Everything's about incremental progress, and I think this is a huge leap forward from when we last discussed earlier this year. So I just want to thank the team again. And I think with that, we will move to a vote on our final item.
Foley,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Liccardo,
Aye.
Mahan.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, thanks everybody. Got through our agenda. We're on to open forum.
Actually, Chair, before we can get to open forum, if I could just make a couple comments.
Sure.
And number one is just a compliment to the Department of Transportation too, is they've been fearless about the services and the improvements, and that's a good thing from the 311 perspective, exactly on your points. Identify what the mismatches are, continuously improve, and the public benefits. But thanks, Chair Mahan. Also, as so many know, Jerry has been a key leader in the city's technology and innovation work over the past 3 years. This has included recovery of the city website project, major contributions and development service transformation initiatives, leading 311 accessibility and service improvements in the new services, and co-leading Powered by People Drive to Digital work through the pandemic with our HR staff. He's also coached many of our team members to a lot of growth and achievement. Jerry is off to serve as an executive coach to CIOs in the Midwest. We are deeply grateful for his contributions to San Jose. You know, he's a dear colleague and has become a true friend to me. So with that, I just wanted to take a quick moment and say thank you to Jerry. And he's a brother, but from another mother, but I'm going to miss him dearly.
Absolutely. Jerry, I was hoping if we went straight to open forum, you wouldn't be able to leave. Rob stopped me. Yeah, thank you, Jerry. It's been a pleasure to work with you this year, and I'm personally very sad, but I'm happy for you. So congratulations. And Mayor, did you want to chime in? Oh, you're muted.
Sorry, thank you. Jerry, thank you for dealing with a bunch of council members and mayors who don't know how to unmute. I just want to pile on to say, Jerry, thank you so much for your work, your leadership, your service. It's really been incredible. It's been a pleasure working with you, and wish you all the best in your new role.
Thank you. And if I can, Chair, just what a pleasure it is to work for such a remarkable city. This is truly inspiring work. The fact that we put on public display on a monthly basis the inner workings of our technology and how we're focused on improving services is a delight to be a part of. And it's been a very rewarding 2 years and 10 months. So thank you for the great work you all are doing.
Thank you, Jerry. We're going to miss you. Vice Mayor, I saw you on mute. Go
Oh,
ahead.
yes, I just wanted to pile on, Jerry. Thank you for your service. It's been great to see that what you've accomplished, and we're going to miss you, and best of luck.
Council member.
My turn. Likewise, Jerry, good luck in the Midwest. It's a huge loss, but I wish you well in your new adventure.
Absolutely. All the best, Jerry. Thanks for everything. All right. With that, Rob, is there anything else, or are we off to, okay, open forum. Excellent. Let's head over to members of the public, starting with Tessa.
All right, good, thank you. Well, I was just commenting on smart city, and I'd like to see a smart city because I'm not seeing it. And what I mean by that is like issues of, problems on our roads. I went ahead and, the times that I was, taking hours and hours and hours to reach anybody, writing letters about a problem on the road that is unsafe for bicyclists. And, I finally get a letter back from John Brazil saying, well, yes, we know about this problem. And, it's on, some list somewhere, and, maybe it'll get handled, and this kind of, lack of transparency is really a problem. And when we talk about dashboards, we really do need that in terms of our, the road maintenance, oh, and then that's the other thing I hear. Oh, when the road is going to be, repaired or something, whenever that is, that's when we'll fix the roads, for safety. Like, and I've said it before, if there's a pothole for a car, oh my God, 2 days, it'll be fixed, But, what's going on in our bike lanes, and, we say we have a vision zero, but we don't have that. We're not putting our money where our mouth is, and that's the same thing with climate change. And the same thing with climate change is that we really, I've been talking to environmental services, the people that deal with our, climate smart, and I call it climate dumb, because we really, it's not granular enough to know where our fossil fuels are being used. And we need that granularity to understand how we're going to cut back to zero, because that is the path for our survival. And, we need to be looking at that. And when we have monitors in Times Square that say, we have 10 years, now almost like 6 years to go to zero, we need something here in San Jose that displays that. That's the kind of only billboard I want to see with electronics, is our fossil fuel use going down to zero.
Thank you. Paul? Paul, you're still muted on our end.
Okay, got it. Thank you, Councilman Mahan. Paul Soto from Horseshoe. Great is the truth, but still greater from a practical point of view is silence about truth. By simply not mentioning certain subjects, by lowering what Mr. Churchill calls an iron curtain between the masses and such facts or arguments as the local political bosses regard as undesirable, totalitarian propagandists have influenced opinion much more effectively than they could have done by the most eloquent denunciations, the most compelling of logical rebuttals. Outside the building of City Hall, right there in the front, right on display is a dome. And that dome is made of glass, because in the architecture of the city, of the center of power, was imbued with a certain principle. And that was that no matter what angle you are looking in at city government, there is a clear, direct view. And what Mayor Liccardo did today is he mocked that. He mocked that kind of transparency by just flippantly just saying, hey, you know what? Nah, just don't go ahead and do that, because a citizen was requesting that. Why? Because there is no democracy without an informed citizen. There is no democracy. So you either Either quit masquerading as a democracy and then just call this what it is, which is a totalitarian government, or get to doing the business of the people and quit playing around inside these meetings because lives are at stake, man. This is serious business. If you don't think it's serious, put that on the record so that at least we know. But don't be fronting and politicking around like you care and you're concerned, but yet your policies and your chicanery and your duplicity.
Thank you. Blair?
Hi, Blair Beekman here. I agree with Paul. I think the mayor misjudged a bit the intelligence of the everyday public. I think, it's easy to understand. It makes for really good reference points. Those kind of roadmaps are important for the community to understand and have good knowledge about how to practice good community practices, and shouldn't be dismissed so easily, I don't think. I wanted to thank yourselves with that in mind, that, the AI work that you've been doing this past fall, and that Kip Harkness is hopefully now back around. He's hopefully seen something really good growing, and that you're doing things, really well. You're thinking of civil rights, civil protections, good heart, good love, and good community practices. It's an important future we're starting to set forward towards at this time. To talk about ALPR stuff, as I tried to say, it's more than just ALPRs. It is the data collection. As we're doing all this new stuff, we can be considering new data collection practices that better respect civil rights and civil protection ideas. It's not just the ALPRs. There's a whole network that can grow. That's important at this time that we have to look into and learn to grow. Good luck in those efforts. With 45 seconds, you're having a closed session meeting tomorrow, and its description was you will be speaking on many items. And that was just a really weird approach to talk about the subject. I think you're going to be talking about redistricting issues. Good luck how to talk about it. It should be an open subject matter, and the public document should be more accessible than the words you used for it. I really, really feel that District 7 should be a part of the future of Google Village and the Horseshoe area, and connected to District 6 and District 3. That's equity. That's the future of good equity practices. Really try to work towards that good stuff. And let's consider District 3 a bit more.
Thank you. And thank you again to my colleagues and city staff for the great reports today. With that, we are adjourned.